Chapter 6. How to Discharge Devotional Service. Srila Rupa Goswami states that his elder brother Sanatana Goswami has compiled Hari Bhakti Vilas for the guidance of the Vaishnavas, and therein has mentioned many rules and regulations to be followed by Vaishnavas. Some of them are very important and prominent, and he will now mention these very important items for our benefit. The purport of this statement is that Srila Rupa Goswami proposes to mention only basic principles, not details. For example, a basic principle is that one has to accept a spiritual master. Exactly how one follows the instructions of his spiritual master is considered a detail. For example, if one is following the instruction of his spiritual master, and that instruction is different from the instructions of another spiritual master, this is called detailed information. But the basic principle of acceptance of a spiritual master is good everywhere, although the details may be different. Srila Rupa Goswami does not wish to enter into details here, but wants to place before us only the principles. He mentions the basic principles as follows. 1. Accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. 2. Becoming initiated by the spiritual master and learning how to discharge devotional service from him. 3. Obeying the orders of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. 4. Following in the footsteps of great acharyas, teachers, under the direction of the spiritual master. 5. Inquiring from the spiritual master how to advance in Krsna consciousness. And 6. Being prepared to give up anything material for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This means that when we are engaged in the devotional service of Krishna, we must be prepared to give up something which we may not like to give up, and also we have to accept something which we may not like to accept. 7. Residing in a sacred place of pilgrimage like Dwarka or Vrindavan. 8. Dealing with the material world only as far as necessary. And 9. Observing the fasting day on Ekadasi. And 10. Worshipping sacred trees like the banyan tree. These 10 items are preliminary necessities for beginning the discharge of devotional service in regulative principles. In the beginning, if a neophyte devotee observes the above-mentioned 10 principles, surely he will quickly make good advancement in Krishna consciousness. The next set of instructions is listed as follows. 1. One should rigidly give up the company of non-devotees. 2. One should not instruct a person who is not desirous of accepting devotional service. 3. One should not be very enthusiastic about constructing costly temples or monasteries. 4. One should not try to read too many books, nor should one develop the idea of earning his livelihood by lecturing on or by professionally reciting Srimad Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Gita. 5. One should not be neglectful in ordinary dealings. 6. One should not be under the spell of lamentation and loss, or tribulation and gain. 7. One should not disrespect the demigods. 8. One should not give unnecessary trouble to any living entity. 9. One should carefully avoid the various offenses in chanting the holy name of the Lord or in worshipping the deity in the temple. 10. One should be very intolerant toward blasphemy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna or his devotees. Without following the above-mentioned 10 principles, one cannot properly elevate himself to the platform of sadhana bhakti or devotional service and practice. Altogether, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions 20 items, and all of them are very important. Out of the 20, the first 3, namely accepting the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, taking initiation from him and serving him with respect and reverence are the most important. The next important items are as follows. 1. One should decorate the body with tilak, which is the sign of the Vaishnavas. The idea is that as soon as a person sees these marks on the body of the Vaishnava, he'll immediately remember Krishna. Lord Chaitanya said that a Vaishnava is he whom, when seen, reminds one of Krishna. Therefore, it is essential that a Vaishnava mark his body with tilak to remind others of Krishna. 2. In marking with tilak, sometimes one may write Hare Krishna on the body. 3. One should accept flowers and garlands that have been offered to the deity and the spiritual master and put them on his body. One should learn to dance before the deity. 5. One should learn to bow down immediately upon seeing the deity or the spiritual master. 6. As soon as one visits a temple of Lord Krishna, one must stand up. 7. When the deity is being borne for a stroll in the street, the devotee should immediately follow the procession. In this connection, it may be noted that in India, especially in Vishnu temples, the system is that, apart from the big deity, who's permanently situated in the main area of the temple, there's another set of smaller deities, which are taken in procession in the evening. In some temples it is the custom to hold a big procession in the evening with a band playing and a nice big umbrella over the deities, who sit on decorated thrones on the cart or palanquin, which is carried by devotees. The deities come out onto the street and travel in the neighborhood, while the people of the neighborhood come out to offer prasadam. The residents of the neighborhood all follow the procession, so that it is a very nice scene. When the deity is coming out, the servitors in the temple put forward the daily accounts before them. So much was the collection, so much was the expenditure. The whole idea is that the deity is considered to be the proprietor of the whole establishment, and all the priests and other people taking care of the temples are considered to be the servants of the deity. The system is very, very old and is still followed, so therefore it's mentioned here that when the deity is on stroll, the people should follow behind. 8. A devotee must visit a Vishnu temple at least once or twice every day, morning and evening. In Vrindavan, the system is followed very strictly. All the devotees in town go every morning and every evening to visit different temples. Therefore, during these times, there are considerable crowds all over the city. There are about 5,000 temples in Vrindavan city. Of course, it's not possible to visit all the temples, but there are at least 12 very big and important temples, which were started by the Goswamis, and which should be visited. 9. One must circumambulate the temple building at least 3 times. In every temple there is an arrangement to go around the temple at least 3 times. Some devotees go around more than 3 times, 10 times, 15 times, according to their vows. The Goswamis used to circumambulate Govardhan Hill. 10. One should circumambulate the whole Vrindavan area. 11. One must worship the deity in the temple according to regulative principles, which means offering artik and prasadam, decorating the deity, and so on. These things must be observed regularly. 12. Rendering personal service to the deities. 13. Singing. 14. Sankirtan. 15. Chanting. 16. Offering prayers. 17. Reciting notable prayers. 18. Tasting Mahaprasad, food from the very plate offered before the deities. 19. Drinking Charanamrita, water from the bathing of the deities, which is offered to guests. 20. One must smell the incense and flowers offered to the deity. 21. One must touch the lotus feet of the deity. 22. One must see the deity with great devotion. 23. One must offer arti at different times. 24. One must hear about the Lord and his pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and similar books. 25. One must pray to the deity for his mercy. 26. One should remember the deity. 27. One should meditate upon the deity. 28. One should render some voluntary service. 29. One should think of the Lord as his friend. 30. One should offer everything to the Lord. 31. One should offer a favorite article, such as food or a garment. 32. One should take all kinds of risks for Krishna's benefit. 33. In every condition be a surrendered soul. 34. Pour water on the Tulsi tree. 35. Regularly hear Srimad Bhagavatam and similar literature. 36. Live in a sacred place like Mathura, Vrindavan, or Dwarka. 37. Offer service to Vaishnavas, devotees. 38. Arrange your devotional service according to your means. 39. In the month of Kartik, October and November, make arrangements for special services. 40. During Janmashtami, the time of Krishna's appearance in this world, observe a special service. 41. Do whatever is done with great care and devotion for the deity. 42. Relish the pleasure of Bhagavatam reading amongst devotees and not amongst outsiders. 43. Associate with devotees who are considered more advanced. 44. Live in the jurisdiction of Mathura. Now, the total regulative principles comes to an aggregate of 64 items. As we have mentioned, the first are the primary 10 regulative principles, then come the secondary 10 regulative principles, and added to these are 44 other activities. So altogether there are 64 items for discharging the regulative practice of devotional service. Out of these 64 items, 5 items, namely offering water to the Tulsi tree, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, associating amongst the devotees, Sankirtan, and living in Mathura are very important. The 64 items of devotional service should include all of our activities of body, mind, and speech. As stated in the beginning, the regulative principle of devotional service enjoins that all of our senses must be employed in the service of the Lord. Exactly how they can be thus employed is described in the above 64 items. Now, Srila Rupa Goswami will give evidences from different scriptures supporting the authenticity of these points.